Like anyone, an instructor also makes mistakes, and that's the one thing that you have to understand. I've been playing golf for a very long time, more than 30 years, coaching for about 25. What we want to do is to become more consistent. How we do that is we get proper instruction. You make sure that you and the coach are able to communicate very well. The very first fundamental in golf is the grip. That's the only contact you have with the golf club. I often start with a pitching wedge because it's an easier club to learn with. It's got more loft, therefore you're able to get the ball up in the air a lot easier. Can you demonstrate to the people the grip? As you can see, this is pointing to the left, which is a weak position. Lyndon doesn't play golf very often, and his fault is that his left hand gets over that way a bit too much, which then when he comes through will open the club face. So we've always spoken about this fleshy part of his hand being on top, and when you lift it up you see at least 2 to 2.5 knuckles, which then when you swing the club allows it to become square rather than open. Earlier when I was talking about the 2 knuckles and the fleshy part of the hand being on top, as you can see, I can easily lift this club up and hinge my wrist because I've got leverage over here. If you look at it from this angle, you can see at least 2 knuckles. Even if I go like this and I lift my hand up, I should be able to see 2 to 2.5 knuckles for the average person. So what you basically want to do is you want to have your left and your right hand in such a way that the two work together as a unit rather than the one opposing the other or the one dominating the other. So how you look at that is you take your left hand grip, then you put your right hand grip in such a way that there are the V's that are formed between your forefinger and your thumb are basically forming 2 parallel lines. And very often what happens is, for the average golfer, it would point somewhere between the right ear and the right shoulder. And that would help them to hit the ball and score. So now your club face is pointing directly at your target as you're swinging the golf club. As opposed to when your hand is like this, it closes the club face, or when your hand is too weak, that means this right hand tends to be turned over this way. As you can see, the parallel lines, there are no 2 parallel lines now. This one is pointing to my left shoulder, while the left hand is pointing to my right shoulder. As you come through, you can see it's going to be facing upward, and the ball's going to go to the right. Again. And normally what also happens there is you tend to hit towards the bottom of the club. So basically what happens is that you want to hit the ball more or less on the center of the club, not too low down and not too high up. This is a square club face, and as you can see, as I open my hips a little, the club face will be pointing directly at my target line. That is considered a square club face. Either our hand opens up or our grip is not in the right position. The club face will be what they call open, and the ball will tend to go to the right. Now, conversely, it often happens with stronger people or people with their right hand too far to the side. When they come through, the club face will be closing at impact, which will send the ball off to the left.
So I used to go really low, thinking I needed to squat and get some power into it, and it took a while, but now we're on a more upright posture like this. Feels a little bit more comfortable. It takes a while to adjust into the ball, but yeah, so it's a lot to do with Claude pointing out how low I was actually going. And so after a while, it's just a quick reminder from him from time to time when I get tired is stay tall, stay tall. It was also my backswing where I used to take it to the side. So what we started working on was a drill that I could practice at home, where I take the club back and I don't hit, and I feel like I'm running parallel to the wall as opposed to my habit of doing that.
Yeah.
So this was something that helped me a lot because there were times where I couldn't come here for practice. So I just do this with him, and once in a while I would revert back to the habit of doing this, especially when I'm tired or when my left side doesn't feel so strong. So I found that this was a very good practice of taking the club up, and the concept of taking it up instead of to the back. A lot of people think it's to the back,
Yeah.
and it's actually up, and then a rotation comes in.
Yeah. Because we look at the person and we assume that your arms swing like this, when in fact the arm actually swings fairly straight up and down at a slight angle across the body, like this, up. And now it looks funny when I do this. As soon as I rotate, it looks like a perfect golf swing, but my arms have worked in exactly the same manner. Very often what people do is they get too fixated on technicalities. All I said to Chris was, go up against the wall, and you are allowed to swing the club and touch at this point. The one thing we want to avoid is that, because now, see what happens is, I'm here, the club comes this way. Can I just bring my arm down to come to the ball? No, my body gets in the way. So that's why a lot of people do that movement as a compensation.
So in the beginning, I was standing very far from the ball, and because I was bending so low, I had to put the club out a bit and bend really low, and then from the side, so it looks like I'm doing this. So we gradually worked on setting up, coming down, and then stepping into the ball. Then I'll just go.
So what we want to do is, when you're turning, right, is you want to turn a little bit more upright, but a little bit softer.
Yep.
Okay? With your right side. A little bit softer, a little bit more upright. So much better. Awesome. Great shot.
Right, man. Yeah, that's it. That's a number.